Hi, I'm Marc Franklin and welcome to another Tech Talk. This is my first Tech Talk for the Creative Cow website. We will get in and look at the Sony PXW-Z200 camcorder. And for argument's sake, let's say it's also for the HXR NX800 camcorder, which is basically the same Sony camcorder, functions exactly the same, except NX800 does not have the SDI output. So now that we have that out of the way, we can get talking about the camcorder. The layout is like pretty much perfect as far as controls. Like most camcorders, you will be looking at the picture either through the viewfinder in back if you really need to, or most people will look at it on the larger view screen, which is much better. Normally the LCD screen has a fold-out sunshade, but this one unfortunately did not come with it. It's a loaner from Sony. This is the most important side of the camcorder. You have here your physical audio controls, the left and right audio. You have this door that opens up. It allows you to switch on and off the automatic level control for the audio. You can do each one individually, manual or auto. Over here is a button that is one of my favorites. It is the audio set control. When you press this button, it'll bring you right into the audio setup menu, and from there you will be able to see all the audio inputs 1 through 4 in kind of a grid and how they are set. Using the touch screen, you can adjust all the different things. You can just touch it and route the different things for each input. You could turn on and off phantom power. Having this kind of control is just kind of wonderful. This is the display button. You'll probably not use this too much because most of us are going to want to have the display on and see our time code, audio levels, and all the other important information we need to get a good picture. This is a button that you want to know what it does, even though you probably won't use it all that often. This is for doing off-speed and slow motion videography. If you're ever shooting and you look at your VU meters and you see nothing, and you check your audio switches, they're all set properly, you probably accidentally hit this button. It happened to me, it's happened to other people. You're in a panic, where's my audio? What this button does is it allows you to shoot at a high frame rate, so when you play it back you have slow motion. It doesn't record audio when you do that, so when you have that pressed, you're not getting audio and your VU meters go down. No audio, telltale sign. This is the button that brings up the network connections. Night shot is the infrared, so if you want to get a picture in pitch black, turn on the night shot. Down here you have the menu button. This is a 2-stage button. If you push it once, you get the most used areas of the menus come up. If you want to get into the deeper part of the menus, you push it down for like an extra second and the full menu will come up and you can get into the deeper settings in the camcorder. Up here we have the neutral density switches. You have the auto, variable. I've never seen a variable ND filter. It's a little confusing at first. I did make a mistake on one shoot. This is the iris control, or you can just hit auto iris. Down below we have the gain settings, low, medium, high. It's pretty much the same on every other camera. White balance, can set and store A and B, and presets, I think 3200, something that's pretty universal on most cameras. Up top, you have another 2 assignable function buttons. This is actually a joystick that you can use with your thumb or any other finger. It's textured so you know what you're touching when you go up here and you're feeling around. You use this to navigate through the menu. Although the menu is touchscreen, sometimes it's just easier to use the joystick if you do have large fingers like I do. Up here we have the playback control, top zoom, top record, mic mount. Over on this side here, we have the audio inputs. You have 2 XLR inputs over here and 1 3.5 millimeter stereo input, so you can add another 2 channels through that. Otherwise, you have the zoom control over here, the main zoom control, These assignable buttons are set to another one for the menu and magnifying for focus. And again, over here you have a record button and another little joystick button for accessing the menu. On the back side, we have the battery well. We have the SDI out, the time code in and out. We've got HDMI and USB connections. Down here is network connections. This is your AC power in, and slots 1 and 2, which take either CF Express Type A, and they take SD XC. You can mix and match them depending on what you have. You can use both together. I've done that. I used a Sony CF Express Type A in one slot and an OWC Atlas V90 card in slot B, and both worked fine. How did this guy perform? I took this camera with me on about a month-long trip to Israel in February. A couple of the things that we did a trip to Mitzpe Ramon, which is Israel's Grand Canyon. Very spectacular sights there. Sometimes it was usually bright, but sometimes in the canyons you were half in shadow, half in brightness. And so getting the shots was a little bit challenging, but it's doable with the right settings. I, for one, usually shoot Rec 709, although you can shoot some types of RAW and add LUTs later for coloring. Most of my clients want the production done yesterday, so I just get the best color I can while I'm shooting and just go in and edit and do minor color adjustments later. Mitzpe Ramon is basically Israel's Grand Canyon. It's got some areas that are wide to narrow canyons, some areas that are flat desert. It's very interesting. One of the things that I really loved about the camera was the zoom lens. I was able to zoom in on wildlife from far away. I was able to zoom in on vultures as they were flying. And at one point I saw somebody moving probably 1,000, 1,500 feet up and maybe a quarter mile away on a cliff, kind of looking down, and I was able to zoom in on him and, get close enough that I can make out his face, which is pretty amazing. Being able to zoom in that far is a testament to Sony's image stabilization system that they have in the camera. I was very impressed with it. I think it's better than what I've had in some of the Canons that I've been using lately, like the XF605, which sometimes overcompensates, especially on a tripod. My other shoot with the camera was on a tripod in a theater in Jerusalem. It was a comedy show. One of my friends is involved with a charity called Comedy for Kobe, which raises money for an organization that gets victims of terrorist attacks and families that lost somebody in a terrorist attack, gets them psychological and emotional help, and they put on summer camps for kids, and it's a very great organization. They do a number of fundraisers during the year where they bring American comics to Israel, and they do a tour, and so I volunteered to record one of the shows while I was there, so they can use it for their promo materials. This camera worked out really well shooting from a tripod. I was able to get the whole show no problem. I was able to use audio set button to set up the audio the way I wanted it. I had the audio board giving me a feed into channel 2. I had a short shotgun for the audience on channel 1. And I used 3 and 4 routed to the onboard microphone, which is right here, also for the audience, because you can never have too many audio channels. What I found is that the onboard mic actually picked up the audience better than the little Sony shotgun microphone that I had brought with me. So I'll be using that audio in the editing. The only mistake I made with that show was the way the neutral density works on this. It's more of an electronic one than I think a real filter. So I didn't realize that setting it to 0 is not the same as turning it off. Even with the stage lighting, it was a little dark, so I put it up to about 9 decibels of gain.
Hey, I gotta tell you though, man, my dad, he used to manage a Jewish catering company, and he would bring some of the food back home, back to the house. And I know some of the cuisine. I know the kishka and the knish, and the chali. Found out there's a word that you can clear your throat and say it. Say the chali. And he will tell us too, no, it's chali. I think I say it like that. And we bring it home. We would black it up and put some, make a egg, bacon, and cheese sandwich with it. Dip it in some jelly, like, yeah, some good chali. It's good to see the black folks here. Anyway, guy turned around. There's black people here? That's not what the brochure said. What's going on here?
It looked fine. And then I realized somewhere along the line that I made a mistake. And I think for the last bit of the show, I had it on clear or off. And it all looked fine, matched up. It's a very good camera when you're shooting from a tripod. You have good lighting. One of the things that I do when I do a review is I'll often join a Facebook users group for that camera so I can see what other people are doing with the camera and if they have any issues. And one of the things that people brought up about the Z200 and the NX800 is that on longer shoots, it seemed that the camera would just freeze, and the only thing you could do to free up the camera was to remove power, either take the battery off or remove the AC power supply. The problem with that is if you were doing a shoot with only one camera and you didn't have anything to cut to, you were pretty much screwed. Also, removing the power while the camera is running and a file's being recorded to the card, that could corrupt the file and also be a problem. Some people were able to recover their files, some people weren't. I brought this issue up to Sony, and they explored it, and they decided before the 2025 NAB that they were going to put out a firmware update to enhance the camcorder's functionality and performance. It didn't specifically say it was to stop camera freezes, but people who have done the firmware update have not had any camera freezes since. So this is a good sign, and hopefully this problem is behind us. The only other issue that I came across was in low light, this is not a great camera. One would think that with a 1-inch camera, you would have a good low light ability. Unfortunately, this is not a great low light camera. I recorded a screening of a documentary at a private home in Beverly Hills, and the lighting was not very good for the Q&A after the documentary. I did have a light on the camera, but it just wasn't enough, so I had to gain up a little more than I like to go. With my Canon cameras, I can go up to 30 dB of gain and not have any noticeable noise. Unfortunately, with the Z200, you go much beyond 9, 12 dB of gain. It starts to look pretty rough, and I didn't realize how bad it was until I got back. I used 18 dB of gain, and it was just horrific. The noise from 18 dB of gain is pretty much unusable. I do quite a bit of work in post to make it look good. Do not use the gain if you don't have to. Up to 9 dB is fine, but don't really go beyond that. There is a thing in the menu for noise reduction. I haven't tried it. I didn't have an opportunity yet since I found out about it. I would just kind of avoid it. Some people say it's okay, some people say it's not, but I found that adding noise reduction can make other parts of the picture look kind of unnatural. Overall, I think it's a great camera in good lighting situations. If you're shooting on a set, if you're shooting news and you're close up with a light, it'll be great. If you're outdoor videography, sports, great. Nature videography, it should be great. Thrilled with what it was able to do outdoors. The price difference between the Z200 and the NX800 is about $700, where the Z200 is about $4,000 and the NX800 is $3,300. You just have to decide if the extra codecs and the SDI out are worth the $700. Either way, I think for the most part you'll be happy unless you need the low light capability.